Hi there, this is Pastor Steve Kimes of Onwim Christian Community, and we're going to talk about the story of the Bible. This is number 1. Today we're going to be talking about one verse, just one verse, and that'll cover the whole thing. The verse is very simple, everybody knows it. It says, "In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth." Now, the next few sessions we're going to be getting into more detail about that and what exactly is the detail in that, but I just want to say a few things about that one verse before we get into any of the details or controversies or anything like that. So we will get into some controversy. I mean, probably by the end of the second one you're already going to be mad at me, but let's just start with some basic stuff. Okay, in the beginning, God. The Bible starts that way. It starts in the beginning, God. I want you to notice it doesn't say in the beginning, I. The Bible is not written by God. The Bible is not written from God's perspective. So the only way that anybody could say that they knew that God was there in the beginning was if they had learned it from God. And this is the thing that we've got in the Bible. We do not have God's story himself. In fact, 99% of the Bible isn't written from God's perspective. It's written from human perspective. These are the stories, and this book is the stories of the ancient people and how they related to God. These are the stories that they passed on about God. These are the events that happened to them and the things that how they connected with God. So this is basically a source book. It's a source book to help us understand how ancient people connected with God. If you want to say that it came word from the Creator, I guess that's your prerogative, but that's not what the text itself says. The text itself says, we're here to tell you about what we understand about God. From our perspective, this is how we understood it. Even when we get to the New Testament, which is the story of Jesus, we'll find out that it's really about people's relation with Jesus. Jesus didn't write a book himself. This is how people connected with Jesus. This is how people related to Jesus while he was alive. And that's kind of the whole story of the Bible. How did we connect with God? It's a story. It is there is definitely law in there. There's commands and there's a whole bunch of stuff, all of which is contextual within a particular group of people or a certain time, which doesn't mean that we don't have a lot of stuff here that connects to us. But I think we need to remember is that the Bible is a book that is written by people about their relationship with God and what that meant. Okay, first, that's the first thing. So the second thing, when we hear in the beginning God, is that God was there before anything else. God was there before anything else. In theological terms, we call that God is eternal. By that, we don't necessarily mean God has always existed for all time. The fact is, the Bible doesn't tell us that. We don't know about that one way or the other. All we know is before we existed, before the universe existed, before any of that, there was already God. And he was already moving, and he was already working. So before anything else, there is God. And if you want to say God was there before, from all eternity past and never was there a time without God, that's fair to say, because from our perspective, that's pretty much true. I'm just saying that from a absolute perspective, we don't necessarily know that. But when we say God is eternal, that means for as far back from before the world, before the universe, there was God. Okay? Finally, the third thing that we get from in the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth, that basically God made everything. Everything that we can see, hear, touch, see in a telescope, see in a microscope was created by God. Everything was created by God. And when we talk about God as creator, that's the thrust of the Bible teaching, is that everything was created by God. There is nothing that is made that we can touch, see in a microscope or telescope or hear or anything else that wasn't made by God, that didn't ultimately come from God as the source. Now, how that happened we'll find out that maybe the Bible has a couple different ways of explaining that. But that's not the important thing. The important thing is, however it is that it happened by God. And you may disagree with your neighbor about how God did it. You may disagree with a person on the internet about how God did it. But I'm telling you that if you end up hating your neighbor or hating the person on the internet because you guys disagree about how God did it, but you agree that God did it, you're missing the point. The point is, God made everything. If we can agree that God made everything, then we're in good standing together, because that's the main message about in the Bible about God as creator. God created the heavens and the earth. And those are the three things that I wanted to talk to you about today. I hope that you have a good day. May the Lord bless you and keep you and give you peace.